Welcome to Violent Verdict. I'm Bell.
I'm Jamie.
And I'm Adam.
And this week it's Adam's pick. Adam, what are you listening to?
Oh, we're listening to the Rural Alberta Advantage's Hometowns.
We sure were.
Alberta. Before we start, I should acknowledge my bias. I don't like Alberta.
Whoa.
Now that it's out there,
Goddamn.
I just wanted everyone to know.
You just, okay.
I was just sharing my thoughts. We haven't even introduced the band.
I was going to say, you can elaborate. Well, the good news is that if you don't like Alberta, it's okay, because they're from Toronto.
Except for the guy.
Yeah, he moved to Toronto.
Yeah, he's from Alberta.
Yeah,
he is rural Alberta.
And I know he moved to Toronto because he sings about it in most of the songs.
A couple of songs.
Yes, it's a very nostalgic album. But yeah, let me introduce.
Paint a picture.
Let me introduce it. This is the debut album from Toronto-based indie rock band the Rural Alberta Advantage. The album was self-released in 2008 before being re-released on an independent Canadian label called Saddle Creek in 2009. It's a blend of acoustic guitar, lo-fi synth, and propulsive rhythmic energy, and emotional sincerity and earnestness matching that of Neutral Milk Hotel or early Arcade Fire. As the album's title suggests, it's about nostalgia. After moving from Alberta to Toronto, the lead singer and main songwriter, Nils? I can't remember his name. Niles? Is it Nils? Nils. Needles. We'll just say Needles.
I actually didn't look up any of the people, but Nils feels right.
Yeah, his name is Nils.
He sings like a Nils.
He sings like a Nils. Nils, after moving from Alberta to Toronto, Nils expressed his love for the place that he was raised. The band's name is a reference to a phrase that was popularized in the 90s by Lieutenant
Dan.
The name of the band is a reference to a phrase that was popularized in the 90s by the Lieutenant Governor of Alberta, Gordon Towers, while defending the Conservative government's decision to cut public spending by 20%, gutting hospitals and education systems, but smartly privatizing things like liquor stores, which are baller in Alberta, just gonna say. The government then later handed out $400 to every man, woman, and child in 2005 as a prosperity bonus because of the massive surplus that the government had accrued. That's a waste of money.
That's a rural Alberta advantage.
That is Ralph Klein was an idiot.
Because they have more babies out there, I'm assuming.
Lyrically, the album blends geographic references and stories of heartbreak and long and lost loves and...
Wait. What is the Rural Alberta Advantage just literally because they have more kids? I feel like you introduced...
No. The Rural Alberta Advantage was because we were making money.
Yeah, they had... Alberta used to have this thing called the Heritage Fund, and that's what Ralph Klein gave money out of. Now they don't have that.
The Alberta Advantage was that public spending was cut by 20%.
Oh, so rural is just they added it.
They added the rural.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
The rural part was not a part of it. Yeah, and then Ralph Klein was like, instead of pooling our money to buy a bunch of stuff, like maybe build a school or a hospital, infrastructure, he gave everybody $400. Though I do remember being incredibly excited because I was very young in 2005, and I had $400 that was addressed to me. Not to my parents, me.
You were a man, woman, or child. It's true.
I know, it's crazy. I've brought this album on basically because I just feel like I listened to it a lot in high school and in university, but now that I've moved away, I very much relate to it. And the fact that it's about Alberta, the province from which I hail, is... Hail
Alberta.
Hey, little Alberta. Hey, little Alberta. It's just made it a very impactful listen for me. I saw this band at the Calgary Folk Fest in 2012. They were one of the bands that had a lot of hype for the kids. But I just want to take a moment and just read you the lineup of
kids?
The kids. The youngins. They were all hype about this band, but I just want to read you off some of the other people that were at Folk Fest this year. I feel like, I don't know. It was a good couple of years in 2012 for Calgary music festivals. Randy Newman, Chris Isaac, Iron and Wine, Jeff Mangum of Neutral Milk Hotel, Dan Mangan, and Beirut all played at this festival.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny because this band reminds me of Jeff Mangan and Dan Mangan mixed together if Dan Mangan was from Edmonton. It's like the nasally voice of Jeff Mangum. And the folky, very hyper-local style of early Dan Mangan.
Yeah. Especially, and I think it's especially of that era of like early Dan Mangan, because like Dan Mangan came up 2005, 2008. Like I think that's when Nice, Nice, Very Nice came out.
Yeah, I think it was 2008, 2009.
Yeah, and this is right around the same time when that kind of like indie pop and indie rock earnestness was like really big.
referencing things that you saw around you was very big.
And that worked in this album. There were a couple things that I knew, like Frank Slide from Frank, Alberta. I was like, I know that because it's by Cranbrook, BC, where I lived for a chunk of time.
Yes.
And have been there many times. So I was like, oh, I got that one. And the rest I did not because I'm not from Alberta.
You don't know what the wild rose is?
That is their flower.
That's the flower, yeah.
It's on their license plates. That's the only reason why I know.
Wild rose country right there.
So I can see how you relate to it. Because they make a lot of references. I saw some notes on like Genius or whatever that's like, this is a reference to this thing in Edmonton. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
I have nothing against Alberta. I'm gonna
Thank you. You're like the only person who thinks that.
Like my parents met in Edmonton.
It's because he's from Toronto.
You're
not neighbors.
He doesn't have to think about
you're not
Alberta.
neighbors with Alberta.
Oh, okay. Anyway, my parents met in Edmonton, and that that's fine. My oldest friend lives in Calgary, and I've been to Calgary a number of times.
Yeah, I think Alberta gets a kind of a bad rap because
I like the Stampede.
We have absolutely awful politicians and
the culture's fine.
The
culture's
it's like Texas.
Man, don't act like the culture of like 80% of the landmass of BC is not any different. You go outside of the lower mainland.
I'm not from BC either. So
you go outside the lower mainland and it's just as hick. It's just as
fair enough. Yeah.
right leaning.
Yeah,
it's
Well, look at we're in beautiful downtown Langley, and the guy who runs for politics out here is a hick.
Yeah.
Taco Van Popcan.
Sure. Yeah. Being someone who is not from Alberta and, this era of music has passed.
Oh,
like
it
is
has.
very of the time. So like the things that I enjoy in this kind of genre and kind of niche genre at, local or extreme indie folk rock, my tastes have kind of been set already. Like I didn't really know why I would choose this over Edward Sharp and the Magnetic Zeros, Hey Rosetta, Dan Mangan, the Lumineers, any of those stomp and clap bands.
I haven't thought about Hey Rosetta.
Yeah, Said the Whale, like all those kind of those bands. I would kind of rather listen to them. So this didn't really hit for me, and the production value was kind of all over the place.
Yeah,
being from a super indie label. It shows. There's some crunchy songs. I was like, woof.
There's some songs that sound distorted. There's some songs that sound. The mix is weird because the drums are in front of the vocals on almost all tracks, and the drummer sounds like he's playing in a different song. In the sense that drums on this album. The drums are very loud, but it always feels like he's playing in a marching band instead of playing in a folk rock band. And I'm not here for that.
There were some songs where I didn't feel like it matched up, but most I felt like I enjoyed the drums.
Yeah.
At least did not actively not enjoy them.
I think it's one of it's kind of a defining aspect of this band's sound is that like busy drum work. Like it's way busier than I think almost anybody would usually play these songs.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool. And when they play live, they play like they're all in a straight. They all are at the front of the stage. There's no drummer in the
mariachi
back.
style.
Yeah, and
See.
Yeah, mariachi style.
I never really thought.
Never seen a mariachi band?
Yeah, they all stand in a line.
Yeah.
That's true.
I don't know. I never associate any other genre with that.
But yeah, so the drumming is very much a core part of the sound of this band.
Pitchfork gave this album an 8.
Yeah, I thought that was generous.
Which is crazy.
And they praised things like that I thought were weird, like the crunchy sound of the record and his vocals.
Yeah, I mean, those are two things I love about this album. I love the lo-fi recording quality. I love the crunch, and I think his vocals, they're not like refined and incredibly technically, but the earnestness of his delivery and the passion, it's the same thing with like
Fair
Neutral
enough,
Milk Hotel, right? You listen to that, not because you think Jeff Mangum is a great singer, but when he says, "I love you, Jesus Christ," you believe him.
I think the mix for me is that, Jeff Mangum has a very unique voice, but the production quality, the instrumentation, the lyricism is all so strong that it's like, oh yeah, like there's a reason why In the Airplane Over the Sea is, such a well-known album.
Yeah. It's funny that you say the production quality because that album also sounds like ass in a lot of ways.
I don't know.
Like in the era of the plane over the sea, in the airplane over the sea, the guitar in that entire song is clipping.
I haven't listened to it long enough.
I'll choose it one day. But this one has I have a note down. We'll talk about it later. But there's like it clips a lot. Where I'm
Yes.
like, what is happening?
Yes, I wrote that one.
And it's too bad because like some of the songs are quite good, but like that takes it down a peg when it's not on purpose. Like, you know, crunchy stuff can be fun when it's done on purpose, but it's just not here. And then there was somewhere I'm like, why are you shouting? Like, this is not something that needs to be shouty. And like the female vocalist is
Good.
Oh, yeah, she's good. Okay.
Good. Okay.
And I kind of wish they used her more.
Yes.
But they don't.
She gets some oohs and ahs in.
Yeah. And I don't even feel like it's necessarily adding stuff all the time, but this album is quite short. Like, it's 13 tracks that are only 37 minutes long.
One of the tracks is like a minute.
Yeah, it feels pretty tight. So even when I kind of was like, I wish this had something different, the song was over. And then I was like, oh, okay. Like,
Now I'm
for
getting
an
something
idea
different.
of a song, I kind of give it a little bit more leeway when it's something short.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing overstays its welcome on this album, which
Certainly
is great.
not. No.
There was a couple songs that I wish were longer, but most of them I was like, this was fine. I did not hate my time listening to this, but there were a couple moments when I was like, it's too bad. Like, this is close
Yeah.
to what I want and maybe would have been what I wanted 10, 12 years ago, but now maybe not.
I made a couple of notes on what his voice reminded me of, and it's kind of hard to describe. So it kind of reminded me a little bit of Frank Black from the Pixies.
Sure.
If you could pick that out, like, you know how like occasionally Frank Black really raises his voice in a song.
Yeah, like in like Where Is My Mind?
Yeah.
Where it kind of has that like weird like kind of wail
Interesting,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
For me, lead singer of Modest Mouse as well. I got
Sure.
a couple notes of that, and I was like,
Yeah.
interesting.
There was one track that I wrote down, and he kind of sounded like Billy Corgan.
Yeah,
Interesting, yeah.
he's got a weird voice. He kind of sounds like a lot of people.
Yeah.
Rain Maida, nasally voices.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, if we're gonna pick on a voice, it's Rain Maida, but like this guy, like close second, right? So
This guy just sounds like he's giving it his all.
yeah, for sure.
Rain Maida sounds like he's
I don't know why I keep
He's, like,
bringing him up, man. I keep
trying
thinking
too hard.
it's gonna make you guys defend him. Like, you're like, you know what, we were too hard on him. No, every time I bring up Rain Maida, you're like, no, he's worse.
yeah. He's I think it's just so my issue with Rain Maida is it's so obnoxiously overdone.
Yeah.
And in a way that doesn't feel to me as earnest. It feels to me as trying to make yourself interesting.
Yeah.
Whereas I think this
And it worked. We still talk about him.
He did make it interesting. That's credit where credit's due.
What does it mean when he says the world is a subway?
The world is a vampire.
Oh, the world is a vampire at a subway?
The world is a subway.
And it wants a subway.
Do you know what the world needs? I think the world needs us to take one last listen.
Slow as the beats out of pace. Open your heart, open your hands. I love the moment that you committed to loving you.
It was an album.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my big fear was that you guys wouldn't like this album at all.
I don't hate it.
because
I mean, what is at all?
It's not the Beths.
See, this is what it's not the best. Again, a good album.
Yeah, the best is
The best is a good album. Jamie. Anyways, the Ballad of the RAA.
We unbearably left the prairies. I'm like, oh, the bad start to the album.
Yeah,
it is really they dump you into his voice.
Yeah, yeah.
It starts off with the sound on the synth that sounds like a phone being off the hook. You know, like when your parents had a phone at the house and it's got like the
No, I'm too young.
Like the busy tone.
yeah, the busy tone. Yeah,
Yeah, the boo. I guess, but it's a different pitch and also a different sound.
yes, it reminded me of that.
Yes, they are both noises. I do agree.
And it kind of threw me for a loop.
Yeah,
You know, I've never thought someone would love Edmonton enough to write a song like this, but I will agree that the Rockies are easily better than the Great Lakes. The Rockies truly are amazing.
yeah. Rocky Mountains are beautiful.
JB, you've never been to the
We're gonna
beach.
have a fight. We
I've
gotta.
been to the Rockies before. What is the matter with you? I stood on that glacier.
Which? The glacier. There's
yeah,
more
that
than one.
The one
It's
in
actually
the
it is-
national,
it is
the one in the
the
national
glacier,
park.
yeah.
There's so many.
No, it's
glaciers.
called. You've never been to the one that called the.
to the glacier.
Yeah, instrumentally, this song is indie AF. The fast, basic drums, the toy piano, the strings. I just need some gang vocals to take this to the next level. But he does do the thing where he sings far away from the mic at the end to be like he's singing to the room, like
Yeah.
like the crowd is going to be singing along with him. And I was like, I guess that's indie AF.
Yeah, and it's also the
Yeah.
first thing of the like geographical references from swap Garno for Dundas. Garno is one of the oldest
Dundas.
communities in Edmonton, and Dundas is a community in Toronto.
Jamie's been there.
And yeah, well, they renamed it, but
They renamed
Also,
it.
isn't there a Dundas in Hamilton?
yes, there's Dundas Street. Yeah, well, no,
Dundas
there's a
Street.
town. There's a town in near Hamilton called Dundas.
I think basically this is referring specifically if you're trying to dox this guy. He lived in Garno, and then he
At
lived on
163.
Dundas in Toronto.
Well, yeah, well, Dundas. If you're in Toronto, it's Dundas. Anyway,
Should have.
It's also Toronto. No, not
Toronto.
Toronto.
he lived in Cabbagetown, which is like where all the poor Ukrainians lived.
It's
like,
called. That's so racist. It's
Yeah.
called Cabbage.
I'm
It's
gonna
called
bleep that
Cabbagetown.
out.
That's what the neighborhood's called.
Town.
But now it's where all the yuppies and the hippies live.
Well, back to the song. It doesn't really resonate with me. It just kind of is. I don't think it's the strongest intro to an album, but it does set the tone and ideas that will come up
Sure.
throughout the album.
I love the first like the opening sentiment, like kind of like moving away, but your heart still remains at home, and like can you find that like growth within your heart when you're still longing for something in the past?
Yeah.
And also, I am a sucker for toy piano / glockenspiel. You put a glockenspiel in a song, I don't know what it is. The little ding, 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 little dings.
I get
love 'em.
behind that, but I also get behind piano that's out of tune. Like old timey, like ragtime piano.
Yeah, okay.
I get behind that.
I can see that.
I don't know how
can
to
see
fit in this song, but I would like to see
I
them
like
try
that.
it.
Yeah, it's like old timey, like you're in a western kind of, and there's somebody playing in a saloon. Oh,
Yeah. Also, the strings at the end, the cello underscoring everything,
yeah.
is really, really, really well done. I think what they do well on this album is
I
very
couldn't find
simple,
credits, but there are
powerful
more
harmony.
than 3 people playing on this album, even though there are only 3 people in the band.
Yeah, I don't know if there are credits. We'll talk about this because I will talk about it in a bit. Because I have it on vinyl.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay,
This
no,
is a vinyl
there
podcast.
are credits. Are they not online? Then Jamie,
Yes, sir.
I know how much you love editing Wikipedia because you can add this.
He's got his
info to
Wikipedia
there.
socks on right now, actually. He donated and got a free pair of socks. Well, I guess he paid for them because he donated.
I
but-
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was mastered by Fedge.
Who's
Fedge,
Fedge?
you did a bad job.
Fedge.
Hate to tell you.
Get a real job.
Any other notes on the Ballad of Ra?
Just remember that you'll miss home, but the sadness you feel now will be replaced with happy memories.
The Ballad of the RAA. So I'm assuming that is Rural Alberta Advantage. This is their theme song.
Yes. This is the first track on their first album. The guy had like a little Black Sabbath kind of moment.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, the next album actually has the Ballad of RAA 2 on it. Rush Apart.
Fact check that somebody.
This is that cute little. This is that 2000s indie stomp clap.
I was going to say, I'm simultaneously surprised we got it this early and that we didn't get it on the first track.
Yes.
It's got stomps, claps, tambourines. Just needs some, some gang vocals. It desperately also needs a yeehaw. Because they get going with that guitar and they just
sure.
need like a yeehaw. But we don't get it.
Now, do you think it was inspired by our friend Stompin' Tom?
I don't think that. I know Stompin' Tom Connors was important, but I don't think he was the first man to stomp.
I mean, it's in his name, sir.
Yeah, he can't just take that name if he didn't invent stomping.
The first pirate
I
named
think you-
Blackbeard wasn't called that because he liked black beards. I don't know.
Yeah, but he didn't invent Blackbeards.
How do we
Are
know
you
that?
sure?
How do you know that?
Otherwise, we'd all be Blackbeard. I guess my name is Blackbeard Bell. Oh, good alliteration, actually. Maybe do consider calling me that.
Well, if it ain't Blackbeard Bell.
Yeah, this is very of the time. It also made me think of Sigh No More by Mumford & Sons, because I always blame them for ruining this era of music
Thank
with
Yeah,
the bluegrassy
they
tones.
mainstreamed it too hard.
But Lumineers is another one that a lot of people credit for ruining with the gang vocals and stomps and
Yes.
claps. That came out in 2011. I didn't realize it was so late, their
That
first
album
album.
also sucks.
It's not bad. Flowers in Her Hair, fire song. I'll choose that one day as well. I like the short little one-line bridge at 105. It's a nice pace change with keeping the fast guitar strumming. It's not a bad song.
Yeah.
It's only a minute and like a half.
It's
so.
distorted. That
love
was the one thing I noted about it. It's somewhat distorted halfway through. His vocals are deeply buried in the mix. Yet again.
Yeah, I love the
But it
drums.
is a stomp.
They're and the drums are just a little too loud, and they're
Yeah.
maxing out the meters. I love it. It feels rough and tumble. Feels indie, and it feels like
The Death Bridge and Lethbridge.
yes, the
Great
third
song name, mid song.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree with Bell.
It
I
doesn't fit.
It pains me to agree with Bell, but I agree with Bell.
so. I lived in Lethbridge for 5 years.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. I appreciate
The
that.
air smells weird there.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it smells like they did this great thing of opening a massive industrial feedlot, just upwind of the entire city. So I remember the first day I moved there, waking up the next day, and just it smelled like literal horse poo.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is how often do we have to deal with this? Turns out,
Every day.
not quite every day, but a lot of days.
It's like living in New West, and it's like a sunny day. You can smell the
The river.
Anastas Island or whatever it is, where the,
the
treatment plants are.
Water treatment plant.
Yeah.
So the Death Bridge in Lethbridge is a reference to the Lethbridge Viaduct, also known as the High Level Bridge, which is over 1.5 kilometers long and nearly 100 meters tall, and is the largest railway trestle bridge
Yeah,
in
it's made out
the
of
world.
wood. Yeah.
And it's still used to this day. Having lived in Lethbridge, no one calls it this. But people do commit suicide off of it, and it is on the Wikipedia article for Suicide Bridge
Yeah.
as an example of a Canadian one. Yeah.
Sometimes it's bad to be notable.
Yeah, I mean, Lethbridge's got to be known for something.
Yeah, I wish the production quality was a little bit higher on this one.
Yes.
But I didn't really enjoy the song anyways, so I don't know if it would have really saved it other than making it maybe a bit more bearable.
On this one, the mix is all over the place, and it's a shame because, like, you could tell that they're trying something, but this is one of the ones where I noted it sounds like the drums are playing for a different song. Like, it sounds like he's drumming at a pace that isn't inappropriate for the song that he's playing on. I just
Really?
didn't understand that.
It's a super high energy track, though.
Yeah, I feel like
I feel like the drums fit. If you're going to argue about the drums not fitting, I think you would argue in one of the next couple of songs.
It's just so, I don't
There's like that
understand the
boom
over to the top.
and then the quick little.
I don't think this whole song fits the album of an indie
Fair enough.
nostalgia album, but I think the drums fit the speed. They are just very loud.
Yeah. But also, I don't know. There's something about the drums on the whole album that it feels like he's playing for a different band.
He's just trying out for a different one.
He's trying out for Metallica.
I like the themes of this song. That's pretty dark, but it is kind of the feeling of being stuck in your hometown and the only way out is dying.
Throwing yourself off the bridge.
Throwing yourself off the bridge is the only way to get out of the town. With your grandfather, you let me down, I let you down. With your grandfather in the ground. I think it's a really high energy track. It's fun. Not really my favorite track on the album, but I think it's a great song live.
It's the best
These
song
guys-
about throwing yourself off a bridge on this album.
On this album, yeah, sure, yeah. I was gonna say I'm sure there's probably other songs about throwing yourself off a bridge, but yeah. But let's move on to what I think is a highlight on the album, Don't Haunt This Place.
I thought
Definitely my
this one
favorite on
was
the album.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely my favorite on the album. It's pretty good. I like the more relaxed vocals. The female vocals finally show up, and it's a great addition, and it's also extremely indie. Drummer's killing it on this one. It's unrelenting but not overpowering speed, because this is like another fast drum on a more relaxed song, but it's done a lot more tastefully here. And it matches excellently with the subdued synths and strings.
Yeah, it's cool how he uses the break beats to kind of fill the space in what is a very laid-back instrumental song.
And they're not too loud.
Yeah, and I think I like the kind of messiness of the hi-hats very loud and kind of just the dirtiness and you can hear that they muted the kit a little bit. like the snare's not ringing so much. Yeah, I think this is beautiful, and the harmonies on the song, especially in the final chorus, are really simple and just absolutely beautiful. Especially at the end when they're singing about like the things we never had. What are the lyrics? At the end, the things we never had, the things we wish would come back because we need this oh so bad. I love a lot of the lyrics on this album. They're not always. It's funny they tiptoe between being very specific, especially geographically, and being like relatively vague, kind of just like a general sense of longing and love or loss. But I think they're really, really nice. And I think that the cello line in this song is amazing, and is a great example of like the way that this band writes songs and how smart they are about how using harmony.
I also like the way it just suddenly ends. Like it's just like
10 years to the day. You're like, oh, okay. Lyrically, though, it does feel like it's coming to the end. That was hard. It was dumb. We should do it again. And then they end. Which takes us into The Dead Roads.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the last line was just so good it turned me around on the album a bit.
Yeah.
Like I was feeling a bit more. I was like, uh-oh. I was like, oh, this is really good. So I was like kind of going into this next song hopeful. Not bad, though. I like the punchy drums. The guitar line's fun. The ooze comes together well here. This is one that I know the vocals are very Neutral Milk Hotel.
Fair.
Yeah, I think this one is one of the ones that really leans. That and I think Luciana is the two most Neutral Milk Hotel. Because it's funny, if you look at like contemporary reviews, these guys are kind of popular on the Metacritic forums, as well as like or if you look at like old Rate Your Music reviews or older blog posts about this, they were plagued by Neutral Milk Hotel comparisons, which I don't think really they're not really that similar. I hear it in his voice. I hear it in the production.
Their earlier stuff is also, for Neutral Milk Hotel, is also pretty crunchy. So I could see it like, because In the Airplane Over the Sea was really different compared to, oh God, I can't remember that album name.
On something island.
Yeah.
On Avery Island.
That's it. That is some very crunchy
Yeah.
feel. So I could see this being more compared to that.
Yeah, and especially if you listen to like some of Jeff Mangum's stuff with some of the other bands of like the Elephant Six, you can hear similarities. I think this lyrically, this song is it's a Big Yellow Taxi type song. It's a don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone. Just think, you realize that going back to your hometown where you grew up and realizing how many memories you have in the place you grew up and all of those great things from your neighborhood, and how maybe you don't want to remember them, or that like going back makes you wish you were back so much that you just need to leave again. Because it makes you too sad.
Amen. Been there.
Yeah.
Damn, brother.
Jamie, you felt that?
Yeah.
Jamie's actually in tears right now.
I didn't like the drums in the same way you did, Belle. But I thought the chorus on this song was pretty good. I really enjoyed the chorus.
Then we get Drain the Blood, which is the one where I was like, woof. The quality really, really dips.
Around a minute 10. Jeez, I had to listen to a different copy of it just to see if it was the copy on Spotify was borked. But it was so distorted that it sounded like it was choppy. Mm-hmm. It was very strange.
It's too bad because I think the instrumentation's a lot of fun, and it could have been a really fun song if it just didn't sound so compressed and uneven.
Unfortunately,
because like the punchiness and the speed is cool. It's got an interesting, it kind of reminds me of This Fire by Franz Ferdinand. It's got some interesting sounds in it.
Oh, I don't know.
But the quality dip starting after the second verse or in the second verse, kind of ruins the whole thing for me.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the guitar on this one, but it was ruined by the strange mix. Or like the lack of a mix.
So the good thing is that I have taste, and I love the great lo-fi production. It's so crunched out. You can hardly make out the individual notes of the guitars. The bass is like a bit too much. It's overpowering some of the instrumentation. The vocals are buried. The drums are consuming all of the space, just banging out in the room with reverb. The gallop and the energy that comes from it, it's so great. It sounds like they're bursting out of them. Like they can't even be contained by the mix, the over enthusiasm.
But it doesn't even sound like they're playing loud.
Yeah.
It's just like crunchy for some reason.
What do you mean? The song feels so loud to me.
It sounds like someone sent them a cell phone recording of their song.
Yeah, it's like
Like a concert.
It sounds like a voice
recording
demo
for my
for some reason.
Instagram story, my
Yeah.
concert recording. I think that kind of production makes this track for me. I love the energy. This is one of my favorite tracks on the album. And I think again, I remember when they played this live, and there were people crowd surfing at a folk festival. It was absolutely unhinged. And a great part is also when the drums drop out under the "Oh, I'm really trying" in the chorus, and then come back in halftime. It's so sick. It's just, and I also love how his voice cracks when he's saying, "It's like on your left, ventricle." It's like, it's just the energy in the song is just killer, and the rhythm section is holding it down. It's incredible.
Man, I think I hate everything you just described.
I think you are romanticizing an error, but I do like the song.
I don't think it's an error because they could have fixed it.
But they didn't, because it gets louder when the drums cut off at the end, because they're not compressing
they're not
everything
crushing
else.
the gate
So it's
or
just
whatever.
like, huh? I think this would kill live. I really enjoyed the song until it got bad, and then I never longer.
Maybe Fedge
enjoyed it.
was in the bathroom while they were recording this one, and they're like, "We did it."
Well, Fedge only
you missed
mastered it. It was recorded by Chris Lee, Paul Mendez, Max Schuster, and Mark Stanfield.
Wait, all these people recorded it, and they did such a terrible job.
Not on every song.
It was recorded at Boombox. Jamie, have you ever recorded an album?
No, but I have recorded a podcast.
Yeah, I
He
feel
says as
like
a truck goes by.
Have you ever recorded an album? It feels like we're trying to do one right now. I don't know, man. I am not here for the lo-fi indie vibes, especially. I don't think I'm into it in 2024. I don't think I was even into it when this album came out.
I think I have as someone who listens to a lot of heavily distorted music, I'm not really so impacted by these kinds of like aggressive recording errors because I'm so used to really, really crunched out, fuzzed out, whether that's metal or folk or lo-fi stuff. Like I've become so used to it that this, as far as I'm concerned, does not sound bad production wise when I've listened to like hours and hours of like Norwegian black metal.
Sure.
Where they're like,
I mean,
their pride and joy is making the album sound as horrible as possible.
I've got like soundboard recordings of like Grateful Dead concerts that don't sound as distorted as the album does. And it like, if you're telling me it's intentional, then like that's fine. I still don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just think that I think for me, it's just that's where I come from, is that I come from like having listened to so much distorted stuff and lo-fi stuff, and also having like spent time on on MySpace looking at like very small creators in music. Like,
You would have
I'm
gotten the
just
tail
used to it.
end of MySpace.
I was the
too.
tail end of MySpace.
Yeah.
Funny thing about this album, in the album, they say, visit us on MySpace/the RRA.
God almighty.
That's late. This must have been like the last year of MySpace.
Well, because eventually MySpace went under,
Yeah.
Yeah, when
and then
did,
they got bought by Fox or something like that.
But like I had a MySpace account, but like I never really used it. I only used it for artists and musicians who were on MySpace like this.
It's like people who said they were on Friendster.
I only discovered musicians on Nexopia.
My God. Habbo Hotel only, sir.
Yeah, did you ever play the Coke game?
Yeah.
There was like the Coke Habbo Hotel knockoff.
Yeah.
That was dope as heck.
Well, the next song is Luciana. And I sure hope my bones have stopped growing, because having my bones continue to grow until I'm trapped in my body sounds awful.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Again, drummer's insane on this one. And
He's out of his mind.
Is it?
Okay, so this one has the heaviest start of any song on the album. And this is the one where I noted that he sort of sounds like Billy Corgan if you like close your eyes and squint.
Yeah.
But this is the first song on the album that I think the drums fit the song. Or I enjoyed the drums. And I liked it. I like the song.
Yeah, the guitar sounded a bit weird to me on this one. I don't know if it's another just weird production choice. It's not as offensive, but it's something that I noted where I was like, they're weirdly far away and just don't really sound super crisp. The drumming also feels a little bit like they just recorded the drummer farther away instead of just turning down his like a mic, which is interesting. But I don't mind. I'm not a huge fan of the song, but it's not the worst. It's not something I'd put on, but it's not something I'd turn off, kind of thing.
It's also it's very short. It's a cool little high energy thing. I think this is the most Neutral Milk Hotel-y track. It reminds me of like the back half of like Holland 1945, where you have the horns, the super distorted, overdriven guitars, loud kind of hectic drumming, and even like the lyrics are they're very visual and not super like only partially sensical. Like they don't really make sense, but you just go like, yeah, man, bones. Could you imagine if your bones grow? That'd be messed up.
Anyways, I love you, and I hope you hear me before you die. It's like, okay. I definitely get the Holland 1945 Neutral Milk Hotel feel from this.
Jeez, I don't think I've listened to that one. I'm not gonna go.
You should bring it. You should bring it then.
I'll pick it next.
I'm not a huge Neutral Milk.
Oh wait, I won't pick it next. Just so we're not going back to back with the same vibe, but I'll pick it the one after the next one. Song after that is The Air. No.
Whoa. We got to talk about it.
Yeah, you know, Frank Slide is crazy. If you have the chance, if you're driving across Canada, because it's on the highway from BC to Alberta, it's definitely worth a stop. There's a little museum. It's still just rubble. Like, it looks like a big gravel pit on either side of the highway because they've just left it all. There's still bodies underneath there and stuff like that. Like, it is crazy.
Yeah, how would they ever get them out? It's
yeah,
we don't have the
baffling
technology.
Yeah, it's a baffling amount of like weight of rock that they would have to move to find all these people. It's not even.
Yeah,
I won't say it's not worth it. It would be impossible to fund something like that.
The mining company at the time decided it wasn't worth it because the town then went on to continue to be a mining town until the mine was closed, like 17 years later. But yeah, so this is probably the most kind of. I love how they use that kind of story for the lyrics in this. It makes this a very sad song.
Yeah, because it's about people who are about to die or are buried from the slide. You know, it's not as distasteful as it sounds. It's because it sounds like making a song about like people trapped in that is kind of weird when it's like real people are dead and still trapped under there. But it's a very pretty song. I would love a remaster of this album because I would love to hear this again with a bit more production quality.
Sure.
You know, they're remaking games like 6 times. Can't we remake an album or two?
Okay, that should be our aftercare question.
If you could remaster an
if
album?
you could remaster any album. Okay,
well, I mean, like certain bands are doing this re-recording thing. I mean, Taylor Swift has done that for most of her
that's because she wanted the
catalog.
rights to her music, not because it was bad.
No, but like number of bands have done re-recordings.
Name 3. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
well, why don't we figure that out for the aftercare question?
Yeah. Like I like to understand the reference. I liked the song. It's very pretty. Again, very different sounding driving guitar, which I don't think is bad. It just made me want more of it. Like I liked this kind of more indie. It's more like a pop rock sound, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, with that. Ooh. I think that the way the song ends is heart-wrenching. It's so beautiful. The like acapella at the end when they just and under the rubble of the mountain that tumbled, I'll hold you forever. And they'll build up another on the bodies of our brothers, and I'll love you forever. That delivery, the vocals, the harmonies there, so simple, but so powerful. Really, really beautiful moment. Real highlight on the album for me.
He does have a very unique voice.
Yeah.
Word.
Brothers.
Build up another.
After that is The Air.
The Air.
I like the more relaxed tone on this one.
Yeah, it has a nice light tone to it.
I would have. It's very short. Like there's just 2 verses. I would have loved the second one to have been from the female vocalist. So it's like one is Profession of Love and the other one's like no. I think it would have been really interesting. This is one that I actually kind of wished was longer. I was like, maybe if they put a longer instrumental between the 2 verses, because there isn't really a ton of time between the 2. So it signifies like time passing maybe or whatever like that. Because I really like the backing track in this one. And again, this is one where the production quality goes back up, and maybe it's because the drummer is just like a shaker and very basic.
Wow, you the drummer in the Rural Alberta Advantage? Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I really like this one. Really like this one.
Yeah, I like the twin kind of acoustic guitars, the little piano too with the counterpoint. It's a very relaxing and simple song, and I like the instrumental kind of back half of it.
Yeah, this is a bask in the sun song.
I appreciated the lighter fare after some of the more heavier songs.
Yeah, it is a nice break. I also like, I think all the lyrics on this album are kind of sad, and so this is all kind of just like all the lyrics are it's about a relationship that's just on the verge of collapse, right? It's like there's something in the air that you can tell that this is just not going to work out. And maybe we'd be better off with somebody else wrapped around us tonight. It's very sad. And continuing that theme, we go to Sleep All Day.
It's not bad.
Is there a banjo in the background on this one? It kind of sounds like it.
Maybe. Yeah, this is basic, but not in a super negative way. I don't really remember there being any banjo.
I don't think there's any banjo in this.
A lot of synth?
Yeah, I don't
It's
know,
just some
maybe.
synths.
Yeah.
I like the simple guitar picking that's added about halfway through the song. The lyrics are basic, but they're relatable. Like they kept it in like a... It's not so basic where you can get nothing from it. It's basic enough that like anyone can kind of relate to, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool thing about like a long distance relationship. Like being like, oh well, we'll do our best to try and make things work out, but I don't know if it's gonna do ahead. I shouldn't sleep all day because the only time if I'm asleep,
Yeah, the time zones are
it's
so
the only
different.
time I can talk with you. Which I think is anybody who's done a real long distance relationship has really struggled with that because time zones can be brutal. Like I remember, when my sister lived in the UK for a little bit, and it's so awkward living all the way over here because you have like maybe an hour of time that isn't we're both awake and not at work. Right. So it was really hard to keep in touch with people and doing something like that, even just across the country, even like if you have somebody if you're out here and somebody's in Toronto,
That's 3 hours, yeah.
that's a big time difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did 13 hours once, and it's like you have a few hours. Like by the time I'm off work, they're waking up and getting ready for work, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and you're in like the different moods because you're like, I'm ready to have
Yeah. What did you do today? Well, I just woke up. It's
Yeah.
like, right.
Yeah, it's long distance relationships are tough.
But I just want to sleep all day.
Yeah, but you shouldn't sleep all day.
No, this is the second longest song on the album, but it doesn't really feel like it to the way that they spaced out the verses and gave the intro and outro some nice breathing room. It's a fun listen.
Yeah. And then we get some more energy back when we go to Four Night Rider.
Oh, this is my favorite song on the album.
Yes. I love this one. It's about finding love with somebody even during the cold prairie winters, doing anything to be with the person you love, running out of town, riding your bike for 4 nights through the winter to get to Edmonton. Edmonton's not that good, but
I don't think I'd ride my bike in the winter.
yeah, that's just what love. That's just what love can make people like this.
Is this
do.
Basket by Dan Mangan?
Oh, he'll ride his
Oh.
bike. He doesn't care. He'll steal a car or a bike.
Whatever there is to steal.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's all right. I don't feel like the lead or the backup vocals are really strong in this one, and the lyrics didn't do a whole lot for me, other than the fact that 4 nights sounds like Fortnite, and it got me every time.
Fortnite Rider. Yo.
I was like, yo.
He's doing the
These are the Gangnam
dance.
Style.
Doing the
Whoa.
gritty, yeah, I'm sure.
I like the kind of crappy harmonies on the chorus where they're both kind of a little bit off of key. Again, there's that earnestness. It's that 2008 indies earnestness. There's like somehow bands like Modest Mouse and Arcade Fire were like made it really cool to be absolutely as earnest as possible, and I really like that kind of aesthetic, even if sometimes it really comes off the wrong way. Even if it can be cloying. I like the energy, how the energy of the song, because it feels like it captures that energy and delusion of being able to do anything when you're with the person you love. Yeah, it's a great little tune.
Yeah, there's just too much shouting for the final verses, and they're just singing words that didn't really flow together well, which is kind of fun, but also not.
It's weird because I don't know. I like the cold wind whipping through.
Cold wind
Whipping through the windows.
freezing through my lymph nodes. I'm like, what? What is happening here? Whatever the line is.
I liked that it was short.
It is.
I thought
It
that
is.
was fun.
Yeah.
It's brief.
It's like, let's go. We're getting out of town.
Let's
we're
get it.
going.
Yeah.
And then the song's about going to Edmonton. And the next song
They've
called
made it.
Edmonton.
They're in Edmonton.
is called Edmonton.
I'm getting a little fried on the shouty vocals. I don't think it's too egregious on this one, since the instrumentation is usually high energy alongside the singing. But when it's stripped down, either in the intro or when it goes down to just him and the drums, it's too much. Mm-hmm. It's too much.
Mm-hmm. There's some jingly bells in it. Or like a little jingly thing. Or a tambourine.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love this song. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful melody. This song makes me tear up because it's about the trepidation of moving, the questions of like, what if moving changes me? What if it changes the people you leave behind? What if you hate the new place you're going to move? What if you'll hate your home after you've been there? What if you'll forget the people you love? What if they forget you? What about the friends I have? Will I ever feel at home in this new place? It's a lot of questions, and as somebody who lived in Alberta for their whole life, moving out here, I felt that way about a lot of things.
Well, hey, I'm glad you moved out here, man.
Oh, thanks. I am too. I do love it out here. I do. And some more specific geographical fun facts.
Go on.
Purple Nights.
The Purple Knights. So the legislature in Edmonton has very bright yellow lights on it. And what you can do is if you stare at them for long enough, it'll cause you'll turn around and you can like look at the rest of the city and everything will look purple because of the the compensatory mechanisms in your eyeballs.
I wish we were a neuroscientist, so they started dropping words like compensatory.
And eyeballs.
And it's like a cute little idea. I have gone and done that very thing at the legislature. It's neat.
It really isn't anything to do in Edmonton. Hey, you fool.
Stare at the legislature building and be like, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
pretty much. I mean, there's other things to do. You could go to the bar.
Go
You
to-
just got to cross a 6-lane highway downtown for some reason. God, it doesn't
That
make
is
a lick of sense,
that is
bro.
that's like the road where all the bars are. Is White Ave. And you're
See, I happen to know that. That's crazy. I know because I've been there.
freaking 6 lanes of traffic.
Why? It doesn't make any sense.
That's how we build them in Alberta, bigger and better.
It's because the trucks are so big. Yeah, it's basic. I wrote down that I think it's basic in a bad way, but I don't know if I'd actually go that far. I think, again, I was just kind of done with the album by this point. I've listened to it a few times, and I think by this time and every single time I listened, I was like, okay, my ears hurt. Say less.
Well, the nice news is that we're at the last track, which
In the
is called
Summertime.
"In the Summertime,"
Which, funnily enough, follows Edmonton.
which is the only time Edmonton's beautiful in the summertime. Sadly, the summer in Edmonton is 3 months long
yeah.
total, and the rest of it is just it's a gross brown wasteland.
I follow a YouTube channel that's in Edmonton, and he gets like 3 months to do whatever he wants to do outside, and then it either starts snowing. Sometimes it snows in the summer.
Yep.
It's confusing.
Yeah, it snows in the summer in Calgary sometimes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does in Cranbrook. It's crazy. I'm like,
Wow.
what is it doing out there?
Why?
Well, in summer, I like the music box like piano, and the tambourine is used very tastefully.
It sounds like it was recorded in a different studio.
It
Interesting.
probably wasn't because they didn't have money.
It just sounds like the production value on this one is so much better than some of the other songs.
I will say the production value is quite a bit higher on this one. The vocals didn't do it for me this one. I feel like it just came out too lazy, which is funny because now it's like, we'll put in a little bit more than this.
When I said stop yelling, I didn't mean stop yelling.
Yeah, I didn't mean stop singing. I do like how the female vocalist did get a bit of a solo singing in the outro, though. I was like, nice, she gets to sing.
And then the song just ends.
Yeah, it didn't really leave any sort of lasting impression on me. I
It
was
just
like,
ends.
and this is a thing that's happening. Goodbye. It's like, oh, okay.
I like this song a lot. I love this song even. This song, I'm biased though because this song is it's an important song in my relationship.
Tell us
Yes.
more.
Okay, so this song was on the first playlist that I ever made for Shay. That's my partner. Dox me later. Every single year I make her a playlist of songs that I think she'll like, songs that we loved and enjoyed that year. And this was one of the ones on the first one. And so it's very, very important to us. She actually has got the first mixtape I made for her pressed on vinyl. So I have a vinyl record.
You haven't brought that to as an album, a choice yet?
We will one day. I don't know. It never
Have
quite
Shay on as a
seemed right.
guest?
Yeah, and we could talk about the mixtape. That's a great idea. She does want to come on though, so maybe she will one day.
It's just 1 week by the Bare Naked Ladies on loop.
Yeah, it's been.
Oh, that was the second year. But yeah, I think that this song, I find it really beautiful. The kind of sentiment that like acknowledging that like relationships aren't perfect. Sometimes they get crappy. They can be great. They can improve. And this has like one of my favorite lyrics on the album, which is it's not the words, it's the one you stress. I love you as I love you, just don't love me less. Is like just beautiful. It's one of those lines I wish I was good enough to write. Truly beautiful sentiment, and the way it ends with the "Our love is strong, while my heart's still pumping blood," is like such a unique way to kind of be like, "I love you till I die." It's a really beautiful song, and I think it's kind of a nice like coda, a way to cap off the album. Yeah. In the summertime.
Tell us about the album itself.
Well, so this album I bought at Folk Fest when I saw them.
My God.
Yeah, and it is a decent pressing. I mean, it's tough when you go like, this is such a lo-fi album to be like, oh, the pressing sounds amazing, but it sounds pretty close to what you hear on
Streaming.
Damn.
on streaming. So it sounds kind of muddy. Doesn't come with a whole lot. I do absolutely love this painting that is the album cover.
That's Alberta.
It's this kind of minimalistic
Wow, it's signed.
view of the foothills and the prairies. And yes, I got it signed by the band.
By 3 of the 4.
There's just 3 members in the band.
Oh, because one was a temporary member while one quit, and then she came back, or whatever it was.
Yeah, so this is the 3 core members of the
And
band.
then the back, it's just the song names. Not even split up by side or anything.
No, the back is just song. This is 100% what they have on the CD. So they probably just took that art, because again, they were still pretty small because I saw them in 2012 or 2011. So it would have been after the release of their second album. It's one single black LP. Inside of the package is an insert.
A pamphlet.
That has it feels like a color your own wild rose. And the credits for the album.
Some thank yous.
And some thank yous.
And a MySpace link.
Yeah, which is or their email at contact@theraa.com. Explore the Rural Alberta Advantage. Yeah.
Let's.
It's
How much did you pay for it?
I have no idea, not a lot.
Do you know what it's worth?
No idea, not a lot.
I will look this up.
Well, while you look that up, I'll give my vinyl verdict because it will not change with the price. This is an indie band. If you like late aughts, early 10s, indie folk rock, then maybe it's for you. But honestly, I'm just kind of over it since I was so into it back in the day. All my favorites in the genre are probably set in stone. Again, like I said it earlier, why would I listen to this when I can listen to Dan Mankin, whose early stuff has more polish and the references are local to me? Why would I listen to this when I can listen to Nutrimilk Hotel, whose vocals may be pretty divisive, but the production quality, stories, and instrumentation is a bit more interesting? I don't think it's a bad album, and I'd definitely be interested in listening to something more recent by these guys, but Hometowns didn't really land for me. I'm putting Hometowns by the Rural Alberta Advantage, and I'm putting it lower because it has a word rural, and how do you say that? That's a hard word.
Rural.
Rural? My name is Rural.
I'm putting it in the 10th spot below Emotion by Carly Rae Jepsen and above Core by Stone Temple Pilots. I should probably mention that I don't actually hate Alberta that much.
That's good.
Thank you for clarifying.
I'm glad you said that at the end after all the Alberta listeners clicked off immediately.
Jamie, final verdict.
I didn't hate this album, but I didn't enjoy it fully. So it goes in our number 11 spot above Tyler the Creator's Wolf, which is another album I didn't really enjoy.
That's why it's in the 12th spot. Yeah.
That's right. That's why it's in the 12th spot. And just a below, Thank You Scientists, Stranger Heads Prevail, which is an album I enjoyed more than this album.
Wow, I'm actually surprised.
So it's sandwiched between those two. It's fine. I discovered that it's worth probably about $40.
Wow.
Hey.
It is no longer available, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, maybe they'll do a 20th anniversary. No, that would have been 2019. Maybe they'll do a 30th anniversary pressing.
No, it has not been that long. Your math is off.
Your math
you're
is way off. You're a neuroscientist, but that's 10 years
The
ago.
20th anniversary pressing. Let's go.
You don't need math for
2029.
neuroscience.
Yeah, you don't need math for neuroscience.
There's only one brain.
I
Start working
actually
on it.
decided to take linear algebra instead of calculus because I thought that would be easier. It was not.
No, that's harder.
Yeah, no, calculus is something that they teach you all through high school, and linear algebra is something they don't. So I made that mistake.
Algebra is like a square, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Hip
My
to
vi-
be a square? Go on.
What's your final verdict, Adam?
My final verdict. I feel bad because I keep taking my picks and putting them at the top of the list.
Yeah, I've been doing the same
That's
thing,
how it
man.
works, yeah.
But this album, I think that, yes, it is. Am I surprised that you guys didn't rank it super high? No. Because I think that, as Jake said, it is an album of a style that is of a time where there's a lot of classic and established classics. I think that this album did not get the recognition that it deserved. I think the band is kind of underrated in the overall indie canon. Just kind of a problem of being Canadian, never really it's tough to break across into the South and be recognized. Though Pitchfork apparently got a hold of it at the time, and they loved it.
It's because it's farming related. They're
Oh,
like,
yes,
Rural
yeah.
Alberta,
Pitchfork. Hey, Perry's, yeah. Yeah, this album, I think, is something, I hold it, it's very near and dear to me. And so it's something that I really love. As I said, I wouldn't probably say it's like, yeah, no, you gotta listen to it. It is like the Abbey Road. I wouldn't, objectively, maybe it's not the best album in the world. But for me,
is there an Abbey Road of mid 2000s or late 2000s folk?
of mid 2000s, I'd say like Arcade Fire's The Suburbs.
Is Abbey Road so good you're just recommending it to people blindly?
Abbey Road is a
I
great
don't have
album.
to. It's like,
Do I need to listen to Abbey Road?
Have you not listened to Abbey Road?
No, I liked the Beatles a lot as a kid in the way that I would just put on literally their entire discography and I didn't pay
Abbey
attention.
Road was a revolutionary album when it came out.
Yeah, I'd say Abbey Road.
TIL.
Abbey Road is a good enough album that you could literally recommend it to anybody.
It was so. Wait, did Pet Sounds come out before or after Abbey Road?
That was like the same
Same
right
year.
around the same year.
Yeah.
Anyways, you're saying this is better than Abbey Road. That's crazy.
No, but this is better than Carly Rae's Emotion,
I don't think so.
and it goes into the number 2 spot behind Danny Brown's Atrocity Exhibition.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you. I thought you were saying that it like it is a. That's a. Okay.
He's saying that he prefers
That's where
it
I
to
put it
Color
Oh,
Tips.
weird.
in my
eh?
list.
I don't think that's true.
That's a
though.
wild top 3.
Sorry. What was the top 3?
So you know how I was talking about Carly Rae Jepsen and how this is better than that? It goes above that and below Danny Brown's Atrocity Exhibition.
My
And
God,
that is
that's-
number 1.
That's whack.
Listen, there's no wrong answers. We don't judge here.
It could change. I could drop it down to
At the end of the year,
above
we
Time
re-rank
Out.
it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, the points don't matter.
Yeah.
Well, next week, it's a topic. We're choosing from Adam's collection.
Yeah.
I can't wait to find out what my what's going to go in my 4th and 5th spot next week.
Jamie, what did you pick?
I picked. He and I both own a copy of Black Sabbath's Master of Reality, and we're listening to that one.
You picked an album you own?
Well, I like that album.
All right, sure. And
It's
I
got
picked,
Sweet Leaf on it.
well, no spoilers. I've never listened to Black Sabbath. I say that every week about every album that I don't pick. I've never listened to it. Sometimes I pick it and I've never listened to it. But I picked The Money Store by Death Grips,
My God,
a band I've seen live, but never listened to an album before. And let me tell you,
No,
I don't think that'll be a popular album, but I'm excited to talk about it.
it'll be better
Popular
than Barf.
within the podcast or popular? Because I think there's going to be at least one guy on the podcast who'll really, really like it.
Jamie?
Maybe
Probably with the public.
Was it?
No, I bet you'll get a lot of
I
listens.
wear my Death Grips hoodie. Actually, I'll save the story. But I have a story about my Death Grips hoodie and wearing it in public. That's pretty funny. But for the aftercare, what's an album you guys think needs to be remastered? I don't really have an answer for this right away, but do you guys have one?
So they remaster albums all the time, but like if you're talking about like re-recording albums, like from the ground up, I don't
take
know.
it however you want.
And Justice for All.
Oh, because the bass,
By
there's no bass on
Metallica.
it.
And because the whole album sounds like hot garbage.
Yeah.
It sounds like dog water, and it has some of their best songs.
Injustice
and
is lost. Injustice is okay.
Like
yeah.
and like the fact that the bass is like basically non-existent. The drums sound garbo, and even the guitars sound nasty. I don't know what happened. Like Master of Puppets sounded fine.
Didn't
and
Lars Ulrich get a producing credit on that?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Lars Ulrich was the reason it sounded bad, because I feel like Lars Ulrich is the reason why Metallica sounds bad a lot of the time.
Boom, got him.
But that album is so held back by its terrible production, and I think
100%.
way more people would
Cannot
recognize
disagree.
it. Way more people would recognize it as the best Metallica album if it sounded good.
Yeah, because most people prefer Master of Puppets because it sounds so much better.
Yeah, and like it's an incredible.
But you're right. The songs on And Justice for All are stronger.
Yeah,
I like that album.
I love And Justice for All, and I really that would be my go-to of an album that could be reproduced. If I want a smaller pick, it would be the Moron Police's A Boat on the Sea, which I think is a really fun album, but it's a little just too like crammed into one center. And if you haven't checked that album out and you liked if you're a listener who liked Thank You Scientist, you might like Moron Police.
Oh, I'll tell you right now, I won't like Moron Police.
Yeah, I that's why I didn't recommend it to you.
It's very selfish of you not to pick one that I could listen to. When I imagine what it would be like
You
if it
could
was
listen,
remastered.
you could listen to Metallica.
I'm not doing that. You know that.
What about you, Jamie?
I like to think that maybe like the Rolling Stones' Emotional Rescue, their disco album.
Yeah.
If they redid that as not a disco album, because there's a version out there that they recorded where it was just a rock album.
Why did they turn it into a disco album?
Because disco was very popular and they needed money.
Oh, that's crazy. That at any point after their biggest albums, they needed money.
So this is like 1978. This is kind of deep into their like bad era of the Rolling Stones before they put out the good era of the Rolling Stones again, which was like when Tattoo You came out, which is a great album.
I actually have a copy of this. At least my mom has a copy of this, and but I haven't brought it out here with me.
In my opinion, so there's some good disco Rolling Stones on here if you're into that. I am not, and so the only really listenable song on that album for me is the song "Let Me Go," which is just a straight ahead rock song. It sounds like a Rolling Stones song, and it's incredible. It's got Jingle Bells in it.
I like the song "Emotional Rescue." It's fun.
No, because he does so Mick Jagger does a really bad falsetto on that.
He does.
song Bell. That's why I don't like it.
It's just
So
crazy.
if you need an explanation of why I don't like it.
It's crazy that they had no money after Exile on Main Street, Sticky Fingers, Let It Bleed, and
This is the middle of the 70s, so it wasn't so much that they needed the money.
Emotional Rescue was 1980.
Okay, so sorry,
Yeah,
it wasn't so much that they
8
needed
years.
They were trying to catch a wave because they were so concerts were with the Stones were in declining popularity.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, they decided, let's get the kids back with disco. And then by the time the album came out, disco had already sucked, right? So the whole disco sucks thing had already come out. But so the album was like got played in clubs and stuff like that, and it didn't make any sense. It didn't fit their style, and I think they knew that, and then they never released another album that sounds like Emotional Rescue.
Well, for my pick,
No, sorry.
mostly because I cannot engage with any of those, I would choose one that you guys can't engage with. Adam can, actually. Maybe you'd agree. Watouche by Pez.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Which is Billy Talent before they were Billy Talent. It's a little bit more
Oh,
ska-ish.
God.
And it was like only available on CDs that they like made themselves and put into local magazines and gave it to shows and stuff like that. And there are some high quality rips on YouTube, but like it needs an actual release.
Sure.
It's not on anything that streams. It's
I would
nowhere.
just love for them to acknowledge that album exists. Like they don't play anything from it.
No.
They don't talk about it, and it's pretty good. I really like that album.
One of the worst concerts I've ever been to is a Billy Talent concert.
I'm so sorry because the two
were.
times I've seen them, they killed.
I've never seen them, but I've missed a concert by them, and I was very sad.
I want to see them again because people tell me that they're okay live, or at least good live. But they came out, like, the lead singer came out wasted. They played like 8 songs and then they left.
Hell yeah.
That's
rock and roll, baby.
But when he left the stage, he fell down, and someone like they dropped the curtain, I think, or
Did he get pulled up by a cane?
he got
no.
he basically got
Then they put Michigan J Frog on the stage.
Someone like grabbed him by like lifted his arms up and like pulled him off. And that was the end of it.
And that's the end of this episode. So tune in next week. We're going to talk about Death Grips. We're going to talk about Black Sabbath. And we're going to talk about you, listener. Bye.
Bye.